What is up, survivors? This is Harv, and we are back with another mod review for Monday. This is the Premade Structures mod. Now, it's a fairly simple mod, but I think it has an excellent amount of uses and pretty much caters to anybody playing an Ark. I think this is one of those appeals to all sort of things and definitely improves quality of life. I think specifically this mod is going to help out some server admins that may be running public servers, or even private servers with a bunch of your buddies on there. I think it's really useful, but we're going to get right into it. So what this mod is exactly what it says. It's pre-made structures. So we're going to see pre-built big structures. So this structure right here is all one big piece, and this little guy over here is one big piece as well. These are your like regular house and your starter house basically. So you craft this whole thing on your inventory and slap it down, and it actually has a nice little entryway in here. You can walk around in here, you can build in here, and you get a decent amount of room. You can kind of throw everything down in here that you need to throw down in here. You got plenty of room. The door you do have to put on, and when you do pick these, because you can pick these things up, if you pick them up, it's going to destroy everything. So you definitely want to watch that. But to try to pick it up, it does take a little while. It's kind of like the tree stand, so it'd be really hard to accidentally pick this whole thing up at one time, thankfully. But yeah, you can kind of throw everything in here and start off really quick and easy in Ark. This is the actual, like the normal house, which is significantly bigger. I mean, I got like, you can put a crafting area back here. I put that smithing forge back there. This is usually just open, but you have a lot of room, plenty of room back here. You have the stairwell to this nice little upper level up here as well. So, I mean, you got plenty of room for, you know, just a couple of people, or if you're just solo doing your solo thing, super easy to be able to build something like this right out of the gate to get something going. So you're not spending a whole lot of time grabbing all the foundations and the walls and the doors and the windows to try to get yourself somewhat secure early on in Ark. This will make things a lot easier for you. And the idea is that, I mean, you could have, if it was multiple people, like a significantly bigger tribe starting out, you can make multiples of these and maybe can them together to be kind of like, I don't know, almost like a town. And then maybe, I don't know, connect the backs with like dino gates or walls or something like that. And you can store your dinos in the middle, maybe make a little community crafting thing in the middle, like whatever you want to do. But the idea that these are all one piece and all one piece craftable and placeable is really cool. But we're not done with that. So these are the two different house variants. There's 3 other structures in there, and we can go. There's a lot of mean stuff over here. We got a basilisk, got a T-Rex. Let's not do that. Anywho, let's go over this way. We'll go right here. So what we also have is taming pen. So this is actually the medium taming pen. And you do have to watch the elevation on these guys, because you can kind of see it doesn't it contours to the elevation a little bit, but not a whole lot. But this is one of the bigger taming pens, so you guys are probably familiar with this. You get animal to chase you, you run up ramp, you drop down here, the animal chases you, falls down here, you go out the door, close the door, and you can put a door on there, and then you can go ahead and track them from the outside, and then you have your tame. So that's kind of like the medium-sized one. We also have a flyer one as well. So this one's for taming flyers. So you get the flyer to chase you in through here. You can actually clip a dino gate here, and you get the flyer stuck in here. You tame it in here. Now these looks like double door frames, but you can't actually attach any doors to this. So this is what you're getting out of here. But anywho, I mean, one big piece being able to just be placed like this is super useful. And again, on something like a public server or a private server, or even single player, if you're playing by yourself, you can pick these things up right after you're done and use them someplace else in another biome. You don't have to make another one. And if you're playing on more of a public server, it's so much easier to clean up after yourself. Taming pens aren't left lying all over the place when I can simply go up to this and pick the whole thing up at one time. Just pretty awesome. Always rains. You guys know that. Always rains during a mod review. It's never sunny the whole time. But anywho, those are those two. We got one more, and this is really kind of the starter one. I kind of went in the wrong order, but this one is for smaller tames actually. But again, same principle. Get them to chase you up the ramp, you drop down, you go to the door, you close the door, and then you got these little platforms where you can shoot through the windows to tame what you want to tame. And this, like I said, it's super useful. The idea to be able to build this whole thing and just poop, drop it down, and then be able to pick it back up whenever you want, makes it easier on everybody, I think. Like I said, I don't think there's a mode of gameplay where this is a bad thing to have. I think it's pretty useful for just about everybody. If you're by yourself early in Ark and you're trying to worry about surviving those first couple of days, being able to drop a house really quick is super, super, super helpful. And the resources aren't very intense for these guys. We can check them out real quick. And I'll go back so you can see where they're going to be. So where they're going to be is actually in your crafting section. It's going to be in your structures. In the wood section, it's going to be these starter ones here. Now, they're all going to look like wooden foundations, and this one looks like a stone one. So there is actually the wooden foundation in there, so be careful when you're looking through them. But the big house, the bigger one of the bigger of the two houses that we looked at, is just crystal, metal, stone, wood, and that's not very much when you think about how many resources it would normally cost to make something like that. The starter home is only 80 wood for that box that we saw earlier. The basic taming pen is just stone. That's a foundation, obviously, so that's really not going to help us. But the bird taming pen is just a little bit of metal and stone. Like, it's not even refined metal, it's just raw metal. And then the starter pen is super easy. So these structures are incredibly easy to make early on. And again, I think they're incredibly useful and makes everybody's lives easier. You know, I think they make everybody's lives easier, and it keeps things organized. You know, how many times if you're running a server, how many times have you went around the server and looked around and saw 50 of these taming pens all over the map because players don't necessarily clean up after themselves all the time when they're done. But in the player's defense, it's kind of a pain in the butt to tear something like this completely down after you've spent so much time building it. You'd have to go piece by piece, demolishing it piece by piece, and only getting such amount of resources back. Not anymore. Those players can now build this when they're done with it, pick it right back up and walk off. And those same players won't be building one by one boxes on the side of the beach. Now they can actually make something that looks a little bit more reasonable, like a house. I don't know about you guys, but I'd much rather see 50 of these on the side of a beach than a bunch of those little 4x4 boxes. You know what I mean? So it leaves a little bit of character even to the people that are just starting out. And like I said, you can connect these kind of together-ish, kind of like how they are now, and have your own little town with your tribe mates in it. Everybody has like their own little house, which I think is super cool. And even like I would say even later on in the game, I mean, you can put most of your, especially if you're solo, you can put a lot of your stuff in here. I mean, I think late game it would be really cool to maybe just use one of these buildings as storage, more or less, storage and some beds maybe. But anyhow, super useful mod, and I was glad I stumbled upon it. It's incredibly useful, and I think if I were to ever run a server again, like a public server, I would absolutely have to have this mod in there, because like I said, I would much rather see stuff like this that can be picked up and dropped down over the alternative. So it makes things easier on everyone, the admins, the players, everybody. And there was some time and effort. Like, this looks like a decent looking house. Like, this looks like a pretty good looking house. It's not just a box. It's got a nice roof to it. It's got a nice actual separate rooms that were intended to be in here. The little staircase, the upstairs. Like, you got a lot of room in here, and it looks good. It looks good. Even a regular little box here doesn't actually look like a box. It actually has a decent roof on it. But that's it, guys. That's the Premade Structures mod review. Definitely check this one out. And again, I guess I had to poop. I couldn't hold it in. But yeah, that's the Premade Structures mod. We'll throw a link to the workshop in the description to the video so you guys can check that out. And feel free to hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can see when the next videos are coming out. Feel free to follow me here. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch. We Twitch live stream Friday and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Keep on the lookout for later on this week. We'll be following it up with our Conan playthrough on Wednesday, followed by our Ark playthrough on Friday, and then, yeah, rolling it out into next weekend too. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for hanging out, and until next time.